students normally, it was called showing student athletes how to diversify their portfolio. When you look in our community and society, kids from all races and colors, they all want to become, most of them want to become athletes. But people do not realize within the NBA, each year, you only have about 60 people drafted. And then NFL, you have about 256 people. And the chance of you becoming an NBA, NFL player is under 2%.
Welcome to the Networking with Michelle podcast, the show dedicated to providing you with life strategies with a little bit of entrepreneur advice. Here we believe in the Jim Rohn quote, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. All right, good people. Today's special guest is Henry Keculah, founder of 4.0 GPA and a long-time listener and supporter of the show. Henry, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. So we met, I want to say December last year, the Urban League had an event, their small business exchange. That was the first time we met, right?
Yeah, that was the first time we met at that event, which is a pretty good event, by the way.
Yeah. So it's just been a pleasure watching you for the past 6 months doing big things in Houston.
Yes, it's always fun to always keep the ball rolling.
All right. So you are the founder of 4.0 GPA, standing for growth, productivity, and accountability. Is that correct?
Yes, that's absolutely correct.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Okay. My parents are from West Africa, Liberia. And my mom, I grew up in a single parent household where my mom did not attend college. And growing up, the process of preparing students for college starts as early as sixth grade. And most people don't know that. So I missed out on most of the important intangibles that I needed to have an advantage in the college application game. And having the opportunity of going to high school. In high school, I took the wrong classes and I actually failed 6 classes in high school. And it was very challenging with my background and where I actually came from and working 3 jobs. So later on, I had the opportunity of being accepted to the University of Texas. I went to college, had the opportunity of majoring in government. And that was something growing up I never had the opportunity of doing. Never went on a college tour before. Mm-hmm. Never had someone come in, never had a career day where I was exposed to different careers and professions. So I actually selected government because government was something that I just enjoyed doing and watching politics. So I went from graduating from UT, then I started teaching with Teacher America. I became a high school teacher, and everyone said teaching is hard. And I said, well, I come from the same demographics as the majority of the students. Well, these students actually, they had it much worse than I had. They dealt with a lot of trauma, death, and I saw that a lot of the kids they were graduating, but they graduated and they either ended up incarcerated or ended up working at Walmart. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty much a cycle. And they had family to support, and they really couldn't support their family. And I said to myself that this is something that needs to be changed. Something needs to be done about this. So I took it upon myself one day. I had a lot of people reaching out to me about college and career readiness. People always reached out to me to help their kids. I was able to win a lot of scholarships in school, regardless of my GPA being low when I was in high school. So I said, I need to monetize this. And I started to monetize it. And I came up with the idea of creating a company called 4.0 GPA that will be able to support schools and helping schools prepare students for the career of their choice. Not even if they don't want to go to college, we still provide them with the option of going into a technical school. Mm-hmm. And so from creating that company, I was able to start applying for procurements. And then I had the opportunity to work with HISD, Texas Can Academy, and many other entities, Jack and Jill, and doing enrichment programs. And then I started to see that it was working because students with low GPAs were receiving scholarship funding and getting accepted into top universities. But not only that, they were averaging a 3.2 GPA in their first year of college. Wow. Because as we all know that a lot of students from low income and first generation backgrounds, they only graduate from college. 21% of those students graduate from college within 6 years.
Okay.
And that would led me to actually have this passion and this desire. Because I hate when I turn on the TV and I see someone that looks like me or from my neighborhood that's incarcerated. And I have a lot of friends incarcerated too.
Yeah. So I want to kind of break this down a little bit. What is an education consultant and how long do you usually work with your clients?
Okay, that's a very good question. So for school districts, normally for school districts, it can sometimes be a week or it can be the actual year. And then for the parent, it can be ranging from starting off from 6th grade all the way up to college graduation. And then for nonprofits, it can range depending for a couple months, depending on the events they want to have that's education based.
Okay. And I guess what's the difference when you're working with the school district versus a parent?
Okay, so the parent is based off of creating and the student takes an assessment, and then the student we help them determine which career path they want to go into and how we can design a personalized plan to help Sarah get into Spelman on the full ride. And Sarah's only in the 8th grade. So we start designing that plan. So every summer she has to engage in these activities to build her resume, and she has to take these classes. So by the time she graduates from high school, she probably already has 60 credit hours. Mm-hmm. So that's how individual parent, our customized plan for a parent will work. And for the school district, the student, they may have a group of students that are in 12th grade, and we will make sure that those students apply for scholarships and they're prepared to graduate from college within 4 years. So we'll provide them with an actual course load that shows them everything they need to do, how to utilize office hours, and how to navigate the college system, how to improve their study skills. And that's what that's what we normally do for a high school level. And we actually start off sometimes 9th grade, 10th grade as well.
What's the difference if I'm a parent and my daughter, if I have 2 kids and I have a daughter in the 6th grade and I have another daughter, I'll cut them a little bit of slack right now. Say they're a junior. Right. What is the preparation difference? Because it's like one has time and then one is waiting until the last minute when it comes to, their college priorities in order, I guess you could say.
Okay. So one is in 6th grade and one is in 11th grade?
Right. So what will you be doing for the person in 6th grade versus the person in 11th grade, especially with the time constraints is the way I'm looking at it.
Okay, so for the person in 6th grade, we are going to see exactly what does that kid want to do when they graduate. And we'll have a focus and say, for example, okay, that kid likes STEM. So we are going to start off by looking for all of those STEM programs that are offered at, for example, MIT or Stanford. And then we're going to say, okay, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, we're going to apply for these programs, go to this program at Morehouse. Then the next thing is making sure he has a course selection. So we want that child to start earning college credits when he's in high school, but we need to get him on the path to start off with pre-AP his 7th grade year. Wow, and then if we see that child...
I said that early?
Yeah, that early.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if we see that child, if he has weaknesses or challenges within math, we get him support for that so he can improve his math, because that's the best time when you're in middle school to work on your fundamentals. And then by the time he's in 8th grade, now he's taking high school algebra. And then by the time he gets to high school, he can start taking geometry. And now he's taking 11th and 12th grade calculus for credit. And then when he graduates, he's on the pathway for that. So we designed that plan for him from 6 to 12. And that starts off. And then the second thing is the 11th grader. So 11th grade, it's kind of, you're either, depending on what you want to do, if we have an 11th grader and this 11th grader, let's say they're a minority and they have a good GPA, they're in the top 5%, and they want to go to Ivy League school, is easy because they meet the majority of the requirements.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes what happens is we have an 11th grader, they want to go to a good university and they're ranked in the bottom 70% of their class. So we have to design a plan and help them improve the ACT score and then improve their resume. But with the 6th grader, we're able to also coach them on leadership. So we're setting up this 6th grader to make sure they join speech and debate, band, run for president. So now they're building up those leadership traits. So when they go to 9th grade, 10th grade, they're winning class president. And that's the differences between the two.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
How important is it to get parents and students to become proactive? I was talking to a friend the other day who works with underserved youth, and I'm like, a parent can only teach as much as they know, right? So if they didn't finish high school or if they only graduated from high school, they're really not going to know how to coach their child through this college process, right? So how important is it for the parent as well as the student to become proactive when it comes to post-secondary education?
In all of my meetings, all of our meetings in our company we have our parents come in those meetings and they're a part of it because it's difficult for most people to not know this. There are statistics showing that if a student goes back home every weekend, their chances of graduating from college decreases tremendously.
Wow.
So so we keep the parents engaged because they have to understand the commitment that when Johnny goes to this sport or when Johnny participates in this elective or him obtaining this grade or scholarship or ACT score allows the parent to save almost $36,000 plus on education or tuition. And it's important for the parents to understand how GPA works, how unweighted works. So when they get the progress report and they see that Johnny has a C, they understand that that C could actually mean them losing out on $20,000 in scholarship money. And so they put more emphasis on having their kids participate in certain programs. And then in the college aspect, they understand time management is very important on how it works with GPAs. And if your GPA is very good, you have the chance of landing a competitive job and getting into the graduate school program of your choice. So you are less lenient now as a parent to invite your child to come home every weekend because you understand by him doing that, you're hurting him and you're hurting yourself.
Interesting. What are some other challenges when it comes to the 4-year graduation rate being so low?
The challenge is African Americans have the lowest ACT scores is around 20. Mm-hmm. So we are at the bottom pole for that. And that's something that parents do not understand, that you can start preparing your child for ACT and SATs as early as the 6th grade. So there's a test called the PSAT exam. And that's normally taught and that's normally provided 9th and 10th grade. And if you do well on that, you're provided with full ride to college. But parents in our community, they're not aware of that. And schools do not tell parents in the 6th grade, you need to go to Barnes & Noble and purchase a $19 book that's going to allow you to save $40,000 in 4 years or 5 years.
Okay.
So those are some of the challenges. And then some of the other challenges with the graduation rate being so low is that majority of our parents in our households, their income is around, you can say average now. A lot of low income students, probably their parents make under $30,000 a year. And so at first, parents cannot afford Kaplan and all these other resources. But now you actually have Khan Academy now that's offering this year, they're offering free SAT prep. And so those are some of the things that contribute to our backgrounds and us having low performance scores and test scores.
Okay. I know we put a lot of emphasis on the college part, but what about those students that are more inclined to go to a technical school, pick up a trade? What are some I guess just advice or direction you may have for them? Because a lot of people are discouraged about college because all they see is the debt and not necessarily, the potential ROI. But for those that are like, you know what, I want to pick up a trade, any advice for those parents and students?
Yeah, I'm very supportive towards people going to technical schools. I can name a lot of students right now off the top of my head, like Adrian, Abraham. They make over 60K a year by just going to technical school for under a year. And there are a lot of great programs at ACC that allow students to either participate in welding or even tech, cyber tech. And those schools are very good for parents to allow their kids to go to because it's going to take less than a year and you're able to make over $35,000. And people do not know this, but the average income for students without a college education within HIZ that was recently posted by Rice is under $28,000. And if you're making under $28,000, you have a 40% chance more likely to go become incarcerated. So technical schools are phenomenal because everyone do not want to go to college, and that's something that's needed to have options.
I want to pivot a little bit. How long have you been in business?
I've been in business for about a year and 5 months now.
Okay. So you consider yourself a startup?
Yeah, I consider myself a startup, but I'm confident I will be around for the next 5 years.
I love it. So I guess what are some things that have allowed you to be successful this past year and a half?
It's self-initiate on just being a self-starter. It has allowed me to take the initiative to go after and find resources for yourself. That has allowed me to be successful, just starting off with funding and understanding that as a minority, the statistics are very low as far as venture capitalists and obtaining funding. You have to be able to find other ways of bootstrapping. And that thinking outside the box and utilizing resources. So just starting off with an example, I always provide people with. I purchased a book for $44 that allowed me to make $10,000 off that book.
Wow!
And it's just a simple thing. That's just like the code. If you want to be successful in business, A, just go to Barnes and Nobles, as I always say, and then B is find other people that are successful. So I reached out. I always give the story that I reached out to an NFL owner named Robert Kraft. He's the owner of Patriots. And he has been very successful in operating businesses. I looked up to P. Diddy growing up. So I followed some of the same traits that he actually has. I started to mimic those traits. And then you have to be able to search online and just utilize social media and networking, relationship building. Relationship building, that was one of the key things that I started to realize that helps you stay in business longer and obtain business.
What was the name of the book?
The book, I have to say, is Successful Business Plans, Secrets and Strategies. Rhonda Abrams. That's one of the best books that you can purchase if you're starting. And it provides you with good advice on how to build your business from ground up, from target market, looking at your financials, staying up to date with marketing and research sources. I actually used this book to help me with Lift Off Houston. I won first place in that competition. And this was something that served as a guide and saved me a lot of time and saved me over thousands of dollars.
Okay. Yeah, Lift Off Houston. That's good. That's by Capital One?
Yes, that's correct.
Capital One? Okay. Awesome. Recently you were, March this year, you spoke at South by Southwest on their educational panel. So what was that like?
It was a great experience because you look at students normally, it was called showing student athletes how to diversify their portfolio. So when you look in our community and society, kids from all races and colors, most of them want to become athletes. But people do not realize within the NBA, each year, you only have about 60 people drafted. And then NFL, you have about 256 people. And the chance of you becoming an NBA, NFL player is under 2%. Versus you becoming an engineer is above 40% higher. So is the panel was showing students, educators, how to get students to do more and go above beyond by just saying that I do not just want to become an NBA player, but I also want to become a graphic designer, own my own business one day. And that was something that we focused on because I did a random poll. I actually had a cameraman. We went to the library. We interviewed 4 kids, asked them what they all wanted to be. They all stated, I wanted to become an NBA player. So now it's showing teachers that they need to have more career days with people from the community to show students that, hey, I can become a lawyer. I can become the next Michelle and have my own podcast. I can become whoever I want to become. And I can do that because I actually have seen somebody that looks like me that's in the classroom, and it's a possibility.
Yeah, I think that's very important. I also think that students need that exposure to understand that behind a LeBron James, a Serena Williams, they have a team. They have a manager, they have an agent, they have the finance guy, right? So it's like, even if you can't make it to the NBA, you can still have a good, solid career within that type of organization, like within that environment. Whether it's working with the Houston Rockets, right? Or actually going to law school, becoming an agent, or anything of that nature. I think sometimes we need to do a better job as showing them the different specialties, right? Not just a lawyer, but maybe an entertainment lawyer. And this is how I help my clients. I don't think that's always translated well when it comes to students.
Yeah, that's something that's needed because kids in a low income neighborhood or in any neighborhood community, majority of the time, you're surrounded by what's on TV. And right now, you have exposure. If you have TV, you're going to see James Harden probably about 7 times within the next 2 weeks on TV. But you're not going to have the chance of seeing the next Carl Moore, who's a successful lawyer in Houston. You're not going to be able to see other people that are very successful in what they do. You don't really have that communication contact with them, and that's something that students need more exposure to.
Yeah. See. So you've been doing a lot of speaking as well. Can you talk how speaking has helped your business?
Yeah, speaking has actually helped me as far as build clientele and get referrals for contracts with schools and having people want me to come out to their school or do a presentation for them. So it actually opens up the doors for more opportunities, and I found it to be something. I started off speaking for free at first, and then I started getting paid for it, and that was just something I'm very passionate about. I can probably speak 12 hours a day because I used to do speech and debate in high school. So I can do it for free. And then I saw people like Eric Thomas were monetizing off of it, and I didn't even know it was an actual career or profession until like 2 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Eric Thomas. I listen to his podcast, Secrets to Success, every week. So I definitely love the work that they're doing, where they have their hands in so many industries and avenues. It's amazing. His whole story is amazing. All right, Henry. So it's the middle of 2018. What's next?
What's next for me right now? I'm currently participating in Texas Mass Challenge. So Texas Mass Challenge is one of the biggest accelerators in the world, and we made it to the finals. So we have the chance of receiving a portion of $500,000 with no equity. And I'm just pushing strong for that. And then I also made it to the Houston Rockets, selected 4 companies that were making a strong impact in Houston. And I'm one of the finalists. So we are going to have voting come out pretty soon for that. And then the next thing is just being able to produce more content and being able to expand and work with more higher education entities and also schools across the United States. But my goal is to make sure that I have more students find their purpose in life and do what they love. And that's what I'm working on. So I'm looking forward to having more products come out in August that will be able to help parents all over the world with preparing for college and making the process easy and simplified for them.
I love it. How can people get in touch with you?
Easy way to get in contact with me, it is going to be at just going to www.40gpa.com and just hitting the email button and emailing us from there. And I normally respond to emails within 24 hours, or you can actually follow me on social media. It's Henry Keculah Jr., and that's for Twitter and that's for IG. And those are the best ways to find me. Or we're located. We have an office in Austin, an office in Houston, one in Houston in the Galleria. So if you're ever in the Galleria area, you can just come to our office, or 6th Street, where we're there as well.
I love it. Once again, I just appreciate your continuous support over the past 6 months. Last question. What is one action item that our listeners can implement right now, whether it's business, if they're a parent, maybe they're even a mentor, right? But what's one piece of advice that you can give them that they can implement, whether it's personal or professional?
The best advice I could provide anybody with right now, as far as somebody that's in a career, it is to take 1 hour out of their time that month and just go to a high school or go to find an establishment and just go and talk to students about what you do, and see that if you're passionate about it, then you're in the right career path. But if you're not passionate about speaking to a group of students about what you do, then write down what you actually want to do in your life and create an action plan as far as starting off with that day. Monday, I'm going to purchase a book. Tuesday, I'm going to find out who's in this career field, and I'm going to create my exit strategy to do what I love. So find an exit strategy if you're not doing what you love. For parents, I just want you all to just take the time and make sure you take your child to the library at least an hour and 30 minutes every week and check out a book, and just make it a habit and routine, something you do perennially, and you just see growth. Because when what you practice, it becomes something that's a part of you. So just get them in the habit of being in the library.
I love it. Henry, once again, I just want to thank you for your continuous service here in Houston, at least what I see in Houston. Congratulations on all of your success. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we will have your website and social media contacts in the show notes as well for people to check you out. And remember, everyone, I believe in you. Personal connection leads to an influential network. So thanks for networking with Michelle.